Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Federation's Most Wanted, a Blake 7 podcast. I'm the Preacher 711, and I'm on a mission to seek, locate, and interview Blake 7 fans from across the community. And today, for an epic sequel as we search for more content, I'm joined by the brilliant Quod Matter. Quad, welcome, sir.
Hello again. I am the disembodied voice in your head that will never leave.
How you been?
I have been all right, yeah. The reaction to the last one has been great.
Oh, it's been epic.
Genuinely happy with how that's turned out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great. It's always worrying when you propose these kind of things, and everyone says, "Yeah, we'll listen." You think, "Will you?" But
Will
everybody
you?
did. So
Would
huge.
you?
Yeah,
Put your money where your mouth is.
yeah, exactly. But that's the worry. But here we are. We were actually recording this on the most special of days. It's Gauda Prime Day. It's the
Oh
21st. Happy
yes.
Gauda Prime Day, sir.
Happy Gauda Prime Day. And
Yeah,
remember, if a Federation agent comes through your door with a gun, run. Just
yeah,
go. Run.
absolutely. And choose your wording carefully when confronting angry friends.
And
Let's
remember,
choose those words.
have you betrayed us? Have you betrayed me?
Yeah, choose how you respond to that sentence a bit more appropriately, Blake. Maybe next time.
I
Oh, you
mean, the
can't.
funny thing about it was, Rushy and I were joking in the DMs about what if, the line where Blake goes, Avon, I was waiting for you with the big
Yeah,
dramatic delivery. What if Avon just went, oh, okay, and the two of them just awkwardly stared at
yeah.
each other?
I'd
I
like to think there
edited
would have been
that.
a
I'm gonna
hug.
send
Maybe there
that
would
to
have
you
been
in a bit because I think that would be right up your street.
a.
It was very fun to edit that because it was the whole big dramatic ending of Blake and how everything panned out to then have, the scene start as normal. Everything looks dramatic. Ivana was waiting for you, and he just looks at him blankly. And just the sounds in the background, no music, nothing. It's really awkward. Uh,
How did you feel when you first saw that ending? When you were doing your initial watch? I mean,
I
was it a
had
total surprise?
heard
Had it been spoiled for you? Had
I
you
had
already read up?
heard that they might all die, and I thought, no, they wouldn't do that. So I went and I watched it and went, oh, they did do that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
well, well, rest in peace, I guess. Because it
I,
didn't have exactly the same reaction that most people I know had to it. Because other people I've spoken to who've seen it were like sort of sobbing and crying or going like, no, and they all died. Mine was like, oh, well, goodbye then.
yeah.
See ya.
It's funny because it's one of those things that I would say, like, even though, we're talking 40 odd years later, I just remember it so clearly. I just remember being sat there with my elder brother and sister watching this and that happening and the credits rolling and just there being this stunned silence. Whereas normally we would then leap into, talking about what we'd seen and stuff. It was just
Yeah.
this thing. And, we were lucky enough, which was a rarity back then, to have a VCR, to have a video recorder and we recorded
Mm.
the episodes. And I remember my brother stopping the recording, rewinding it back, playing the last few seconds again, and my sister and I starting to talk and dissect it. Him going shush, 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 and realised then he was listening at the gunshots, which lots of people ended up doing. But he
To
was
try
kind
and
of
figure
listening
out
for
does Avon
who
live?
was
Yeah.
who. Yeah, and he must have done it about 3 times in a row, and recordings weren't great. It's not like now. So
Mm.
yeah, and then there was the big debate over who was dead and all the rest of
Who
it.
was
So
dead and who wasn't? Yeah.
who was dead and who wasn't. I think we very early on we reached the consensus that Villa would not be dead.
No,
I
Villa,
think we
Villa.
were all
I think everybody can agree on that. Villa did not die. There's
absolutely.
no way he would have let himself be killed like that.
Yeah, and I struggled to think of any scenario whereby Avon wasn't cut in half by gunfire. I mean, that would have to be a Stormtrooper-esque level of
Yes.
accuracy.
Or
We'll
Lucifer, but
absolutely.
or Afterlife for that matter.
Mm, yeah, good point. Good call. Acknowledge all those post-Gauda Prime novels while we're here.
On that note, um, we've decided before recording began to turn the tables, so I have to ask
God.
preacher questions. Don't worry, they're not too evil.
Okay. This is a first for me. I do a lot of interviewing of people. I don't normally be the interviewee, so This is
This
going
will
to be
be
good.
fun. This will be fun. So, I mean, it's actually good that we started with that because one of the things I wanted to ask was, uh, considering there's been, I think, three major post Gauda Prime stories. We're talking, I think it's Logic of Empire
Hmm.
is the big one. Lucifer and obviously Afterlife. Obviously, out of the three of them, do you have a favorite?
Um, I think none of them were what I imagined in my head at the time or after. So I've
Hmm.
kind of struggled to one degree or another with all of them. Um, Afterlife, I thought I'm going to stick my neck out and say starts off well, and then
Yeah.
tails off. So it felt Afterlife to me always felt like a great start and then just come apart badly. Um, Lucifer, um, I've got a bit more issues with. It's got some good bits, it's got some nice bits, but I think I just find that the sort of the lack of continuity with the sort of technology and the terminology and some of the bits in it, the way the Federation itself is even described, it's just a bit too jarring. And I find as
Yeah.
much as I want to suspend my disbelief, if I'm jarred too heavily like that, I can't kind of come back. So I've always struggled. I think in my mind there was always a bit of as we joked, right? Villa would have to be the survivor for anything to
He
work
would
with
have
me.
to be the one who
He
survived it.
has to
Yeah.
be. There's no doubt. And I've always been excited by the idea, especially as time's gone on and the years have gone on, about the idea of, kind of another band of rebels taking up the cause, kind of almost in Blake's name. The son of the Blake clone. I always just used to joke to
The
friends,
son of the
so that he could.
Blake
Yeah,
clone.
well, because then he could still be called Blake. I rather like the idea you could have Blake Seven, almost the next generation, and they could track.
TNG.
Yeah, they could track down Villa. They could track down an aging Villa who still maybe got Aurak, and he could almost
Hmm.
be the mentor, the guy that sort of sits drunkenly in the back of the ship giving sage-like advice, rewriting his own personal history. Um, so that's why I'm quite excited. There's a new novel out, Vindictus, that's just
I've
come
ordered
out.
that. It
Yeah,
hasn't arrived yet, annoyingly.
I've got it down there in my Christmas pile just there. And they're doing kind of a new fresh rebellion rising, kind of continuing on the work of Blake's crew. That's
Hmm.
quite exciting. I'm really looking forward to reading that.
I mean, your ideas for PGP are very close to my ones as well, because my sort of idea, I'll make this quick because I want to get on to the next question.
Cool.
My sort of idea was Villa during you've got the closing moments play out. Everyone is shot. Avon fires and kills almost all the troopers except one who's standing behind him. Gets him while his back is turned, drops to the ground dramatically and the way that only Paul Darrow could.
Yeah.
And as the smoke kind of dissipates and the body's been taken away, you see Villa sort of check about his surroundings and just sneak out the back door.
Well, it's funny you should say that. So many years ago, going back a long way, I used to work in 8-bit games back then, and we did
Hmm.
sort of we released them episode by episode. So there was a standalone game for the episode Blake, and we did it that when you got to the Gauda Prime shootout at the very end, which you kind of couldn't survive. Whatever you did, it ended in kind of a game over, but a positive game over, if you like. But we did it in the background there that the villa was the only person laid on the background that didn't kind of have a little pool of blood around them as a little Easter egg. And we did
Ah,
it
yes.
that when the credits of the game ran, it then went back to the shot of everybody laying there dead. And exactly as you've described, the villa sprite then looks up, looks around, and then lays back down again. Um, because I've always felt that. So, it was just, I love a good little Easter egg in games. So it was there. If you've still got that crusty old 8-bit game out there, anybody, have a go back, get past the credits.
We'll
It's,
talk about the game in a sec. We're talking about the games in a second because I wanted to ask about how you got into those. But there's one other little piece of imagery I want to put into your head
mm-hmm.
because after Villa gets up and escapes from the thing, there's a shot I have in mind, almost orbit like, where he's sitting in the Gauda Prime forest, Aurak on his lap, hiding in the bushes as Federation troopers are going by looking for him. With the sort of the searchlights and
Yeah.
loaded guns. Kill him if you see him type thing. And here he is hiding in the thing. And he says to Aurak, "How do we get out of this?" that is not for me to decide. Sort of thing. I love doing
I'd
the
love it. I mean, they could still do it, right? Big Finish could still do it. There's nothing in
Oh, they could. They
the Big
absolutely could.
Finish set that says that couldn't happen, and there's nothing that says, they kind of almost need to honor to, within an inch of it, the Lucifer stuff, because there's contradictions as it is between the sort of the audio episode canon and the novels, the standalone novels, anyway. So
Yeah,
I don't know. It would be cool. A
it would
post
be
Gauda
cool. Yeah,
Prime, Big Finish, or Aston Villa on the run.
let's do this.
If you listen, Peter Angelidis, I will pay gold for that one, my friend.
You have to give me royalties if you use my idea.
Don't
Or
put him
get me
off.
to write it. Actually,
Don't
no, you
put
wouldn't want
barriers in
that.
his way.
Uh, well, you've been making Blake 7 games since I think 1987. It says on your
87. Yeah.
Twitter
Nice.
profile. How did you get into that?
Um. So yeah, you're a boy sat there playing video games back in the old days, back in the early days, and it was Blake Seven was one of those things you prayed at the time there was going to be a tie-in of. So that back in the old days, there used to be this company called Ocean that were kind of the biggest games developer around.
Yeah.
And anything that came out, they licensed it and turned it into a platform game. Didn't matter what it was, it would end up as a run and jump game. And at the time, I remember my brother and I sort of being really into the idea of, oh my God, surely they'll do one, right? Because it's so big, and it never happened. And the years ticked by, and I remember seeing a magazine article about they were going to release in '87 this thing called Shoot 'em Up Construction Kit, which was a bit of software that basically put all the hard work, the engine work into game making. You built the sprites, you set the paths, you set the AI, but it allowed you to make games in a much quicker and easier way than it's happened before. So as soon as I saw it, there was a little on this one page advertisement in the magazine. There was a little like picture of like a top down space shooter, and I thought I could do that. I could, Liberator, blasting Federation pursuit ships. This would be brilliant. So saved up the pocket money. Day of release came, bought the thing, and spent months doing it. But sadly, it was just technology of the time. It was all recorded on magnetic tape. Saving wasn't as easy as it is today, and was very unreliable. So the amount of times I lost all my work that you'd save, you think you were done, you came to load it another time, and it would say like save not found and stuff like that. So
Oh.
yes, sadly, Gen 1 original Blake 7 the game does not exist in any way, shape, or form. I do have
Oh.
one single screenshot of a couple of years later in 1990, sort of the next generation of computer came out, the Commodore Amiga, and the same program, Shoot 'em Up Construction Kit, was available for that. So I basically recreated everything I'd done on that. But you could do cooler things like actually sample audio that was barely recognizable, but it was there. So I remade the game then. Player one played as Liberator, and if you played it two player, player two was Scorpio. And I've got this
Oh,
single
that's great.
screenshot still of the Scorpio sprite. Is all that. I mean, you can barely see that's what it is. Let's be honest, it's a brown smudge.
I
But
mean, to be fair, with the technology you would have had, it was. I mean, I'm not saying things have gotten better now because that's obvious. But with the technology you had, I mean, you would be able to suspend your disbelief. Like that's
yeah,
the Scorpio.
totally. Yeah. Oh, in my mind, mate, it was. It was all bang on. It was all. This is practically photo real. But yeah, I spent a long time lovingly crafting that game, and I was very proud of it at the time. But then it just went on from there, mate. It just literally turned into you finished one project, you had 10 more ideas for the next one, and it just sadly never stopped, and it's never stopped.
I
And
wouldn't
it's
say sadly because considering the amount of people who've played the Roblox games you've made
yeah.
or the game you've made, sorry, is it one or is it several? I've got
Now it's one. There's kind of one out there now. So the great thing about cloud platforms and Roblox especially, is just that ability to sort of edit things in real time, add things, change. You don't need to throw a whole project in a bin. You can just amalgamate bits and grow them. Um, and Roblox is brilliant because it's just a blank canvas. Everybody thinks of kind of the Roblox action figures you see in shops and the bigger name games that kind of make it, but Roblox is basically just this massive blank template. And they just give you some bits of tooling for you to use around sort of gravity and people and stuff like that. But beyond that, if you've got the skill and the learning, you can build anything with it. and it was a massive departure for me to do 3D on Roblox. I genuinely convinced myself I was too old to learn something new, and basically the last set of games I made in 2D before lockdown were the end kind of the road, and it was only that someone else I know that's got a massive, like a huge, properly successful game on Roblox, convinced me that why don't you move over? It's not too late to learn. Come over and do something in 3D. And I was like, no, too old, can't do it, can't do it. And they sent me the most amazing picture of a Federation rifle rendered in 3D, and they went, "This is an in-game graphic. It's not like a pre-render. I've done this in 10 minutes, so you could do it." And I kind of then went, "Oh yeah, you've done that one thing. Show me something like really cool, like a Federation trooper helmet." And about 20 minutes later, he pings me this image of this Federation trooper helmet. So I was like, "Oh crap. Okay, I'll give it one go, and if I can't do it, I will do it." So I sat down, and in about an hour, I'd made the Liberator gun that's still in the game to this day. It survived the last couple of years because I was quite pleased with the model. And that's where it started. I suddenly realised that, well, maybe this isn't quite as tough as I thought it was going to be. And that's where the current road began.
Great. I was gonna ask, when it comes to making levels and stuff and missions for different episodes, because I think what was your most recent one I remember seeing, because Twitter's algorithm doesn't like giving me everybody's tweets at once. That's annoying. The last one I remember seeing was Horizon.
Yeah. It's the last one, yeah.
So do you just do it episodically, or
Yeah.
is
Yeah. So my dream way back when was to first have. I was obsessed by the idea of doing like a game where you played as like Trooper Parr as a recruit and went through his career. I imagined this kind of like open-ended playing part of all these massive Federation battles and all that. And I kind of did a bit of that here and there, and then decided to move on. And it was recently going to things like Forever Avon convention back in the summer and stuff like that, and talking to some people about what people kind of really wanted rather than what I wanted. And the consensus seemed to be the more popular ones were when I did it actual episodes based on actual episodes, people getting to relive
right?
moments and stuff like that. So that's
Yeah.
why I then, for the current build of the game, swapped it to doing, right, I'll start at the start, I'll do it episode by episode, but I'll do it that you can be any character. So you could just pick a member of the crew and play the episode from that character's point of view. And that to a degree, the game will adapt with dialogue and other bits and pieces to whoever you're using it. So stuff like that became a bit challenging because there were some bits in there that, sound like, they sound easy. We're gonna teleport down as Blake, and it's gonna, as soon as he teleports down into the level, it's gonna ping his bracelet and he's going to say down and safe in a Blake sample. But if I go down as Avon, it's got to do it in an Avon. It sounds really simple. Games do that all the time, but you try building it from scratch. I had this great vision how easy that was going to be. Maybe isn't, but it all works. And a huge thanks to Rushy for supplying me with a load of sound clips of all the different crew with their down and safe bits. I sent him a
Good
little
lad,
thing
Rushy.
saying I was struggling to find some bits. About 2 minutes later, the guy's giving me all the audios. He's a bit of a legend.
Rushy's just like, one moment, and he just
It
goes through
literally
his
is.
massive archive, and it's like,
he is. It's incredible.
here.
Because I thought that there must be a bit in the Big Finish canon where Del Grant says down and safe, but I couldn't find
There
it.
has to be a moment.
And he does.
Heard it,
but literally, Rushy, you ping him a DM 2 minutes later, he's got you a clip. It's brilliant.
yeah, like he has everything you'll need.
Everything you'll
I've
need.
just noticed Zoom has given us the time warning.
Ew.
So last thing I want to ask, I would have asked you about Ben Steed, but I don't think that's a good idea because we'll be here all day.
We could be here a
The
long
age-old
time.
question that everybody debates: do you think Doctor Who and Blake Seven are one in the same universe or not?
You see, I'm mixed on this one. I do like. I only recently rebought the copy of it. It's over there on my shelf. I only recently bought Boucher's Corpse Marker recently, and obviously that's got the crossover of Carnell coming over. You've got the Caldor City stuff. I rather like the idea. I rather like the idea that the two crossover. I love the idea of the Daleks could have been in it. That could have been
Daleks
quite
and
cool.
Star One would have been just
honestly, and I remember this is another sort of game link really, that during lockdown, right at the beginning, it was a combination of Rushy and Floppy Lion had both posted things about alternate Star One featuring the Daleks, and there I was, creepingly bored, nothing to do, it's lockdown. So I'd already made, in the old 8-bit game, I'd already made this Star One chapter. So I did like a Star One remix where I basically ripped all the Andromedan sprites out of it, drew my first ever Dalek, and had to put the Daleks in it. And it was brilliant. It really works. I was really pleased. And ever since then, I've tried to include the Daleks at some point in any of the modern 3D games I make. So I just love the idea. So yeah, so if you log on to the current version of the game, I've got a Christmas bonus level all about Christmas trees. Why wouldn't you? And they're guarded by these tree guardians, I've called them in the game, but they're actually just Christmas coloured Daleks.
I love
Because
Christmas Dalek ideas. They're
well,
great.
it took me so much effort to make a 3D model of a Dalek. It's probably of all the stuff in the gaming I've ever made, it's been by far the hardest to get it obsessively right. I maybe spent just a little bit too long on its little gun arm thing, because it had to look right. I thought if I'm gonna meddle with someone else's fandom, let's do it right. Like, they can't hang me out to
Yeah.
dry. So yeah.
Well, that was all the questions I had.
Oh, well, brilliant. It's as ever brilliant to chat to you, especially on this, the most special of days of Gauda Prime Day. What have you got on your Blake Seven Horizon? You mentioned you got the book on order. What else have you got going down?
I've got a rewatch of Blake coming, but that's about it. I mean, I've been rewatching Series D, and I was mentioning this before I end. It's been very interesting watching it stand alone because if you don't watch it with A, B, and C, it's one of those ones where Series B, in order to watch it on its own, you need Series A.
Mm,
Series C, even though it's the anthology one, you do need the context of Star One. So you have to watch Series B, then you have to watch Series A. Series D is the only one where you can start on, minute zero, and you can watch the whole thing at the end of Blake on its own. I mean, sure, you might need to know the context of Terminal, but they reference it enough.
yeah.
Like, to the point where you could watch it all as its own series, which kind of was the idea. So it has been fun. But that's probably the only thing other than that little Gauda Prime story I'm writing on the back burner. So
Yeah. Oh, well, look forward to
I will
that. Well,
tease one thing about it though.
go on.
A Federation trooper defects to Villa.
It's not.
Ah,
It's not him, is
yes.
it? Oh,
It's. I don't think it's who you think it is. It was
oh,
an
what?
original character.
Oh, I thought you were giving me my dream. If so,
Who
I
were you
normally
thinking it
ask.
was?
I Trooper Power. I thought you were giving me all my dreams. I
Oh
thought you were
no.
giving me all my dreams at once there. Um,
Although I will say, a certain eye-patched man will make a cameo once or
will
twice.
he? Will he?
Mhm.
I
And he
mean,
might even look different again. Travis
recast,
3.
recast once more. But we always joke on this about, like, what would the wish be? And for me, I am so envious of the Doctor Who crowd and their whatever they're called, character options figures. I'd love a bit of
Yes.
that before. Come on, there's not many years
Come
left in the
on.
in
We
the
need
preacher's
these.
bank. I need these.
I
But
need Series D Avon in the TARDIS. I need this.
we need it. But I think even maybe higher up the tree than that, if the gods of Trevor Baxendale and Peter Angelidis are listening to this podcast, please, 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 Worlds of Blake Seven Trooper Par box set, 3 episodes.
Come
You know,
on, lads.
Par at the academy, Par under Travis, and then Par post.
I mean, you mentioned Baxendale. I just want to acknowledge a running joke that Rushy has been wanting me to address for ages. No, I don't think it would be a good idea if you sent Trevor Baxendale the show. Okay, don't do that. I don't want big finish box sets of my stupid YouTube series. All right.
Why not? Why not? Can I be on the interviews of that then? I knew Quad before he was famous.
Do you want a
Yeah.
character?
Yeah. It's the weird old game
All
maker
right, I'll write
guy.
you one.
Yeah. Can I be some sort of talking computer of some kind or something like that?
Of
Some sort of
course,
like,
I already have one, an equivalent to Zen that I'm writing into the.
really? Or some sort of evil, sinister character that only appears in shadow. That would be quite cool, doesn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, I'll
well,
go for
I
it.
can do that as well. I can do that too. All right.
Well, brilliant, my friend. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for a bit of a laugh. And
No
this is
problem.
kind of our Christmas special. Blake Seven that there never was a Christmas special, but here we are. So
Hmm.
again, happy Gauda Prime Day again, my friends.
Happy
Brilliant
Gauda
to have
Prime
you.
Day.
Let's catch up again in the new year.
We will do just that.
Brilliant. And thanks to all you guys out there for listening. As Quad said at the beginning, right? There was an absolutely brilliant reaction to the first episode. Let's hope that continues. We've got a load of great people lined up as well for the new year. Quad will be back. I'll be back. We might do something clever with, who's doing the interviewing. Maybe, we'll swap that around as well.
Ooh.
But see you all in the new year. Take care.
See ya.